Miles de años antes de los acontecimientos del Señor de los Anillos y el Hobbit, tuvieron lugar los hechos de Los Anillos de Poder, la nueva serie que acaba de estrenar Prime Video. Hemos podido entrevistar a los showrunners de esta serie para que nos cuenten algunos secretos de un proyecto tan ambicioso.
Yes, the mind of an insane person developing conspiracies is not far off. I think we read obsessively and really documented all the different clues that Tolkien had left us because this was a story we had to excavate. Tolkien never really wrote out the full version of the Second Age. I mean, there's dribs and drabs and little pieces here and there and little stories here that will give you snippets of it. So we mapped all that out, and then we started saying, like, what feels like the right shape for a show? You know, how much of this do you want to tackle at different times? And then started to also find the characters that we could find, and some of them were characters from the Legendarium, some of them were characters that were suggested by a culture but that hadn't been specifically drawn by Tolkien that we would then bring to life. And so it was a process of doing that first with each other and then bringing a whole room of writers together to start to really flesh out what was going to be in this season and then beyond.
So in our writer's room, we had a series of boards on the walls, and sometimes it's cork boards with tacks with note cards, and there was a whiteboard with there were like 6 boards in that room. Now that I think of it, it was a large room.
There was a character board.
Very cool table, by the way. I felt very strongly that we needed to have a table with history, so we found one in a bar. And like, can we have that one? And everyone thought we were crazy, but it mattered. There was a board in the far corner of the room that was the series board, and it was here's season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, and the like signposts. And then you'd be coming up with story season 1. You go, ooh, and then that could go to this in this season. That would and then you notice on the board, well, this has to happen in season 4. How do we plant the seed for that now? It was actually really wonderful working on that kind of canvas of thinking of the show as like this vast tome, but then you get into the details one season at a time.
Good question. So I joined the project in late 2018, and at that time there was a global search for where the show should go. And you need certain things for any show, but for a show this size, you need a lot of space. You need stage space, we needed tanks, we need locations, and really there are only a few places in the world that could fit us, that could sort of dock a ship this size, and New Zealand wound up being the best one, and we were incredibly fortunate to be there. Obviously, since the crew base has such a long history with the material, we were definitely beneficiaries of that. And then we wound up being there during the early part of the pandemic, which wound up being incredibly fortunate and a stroke of luck beyond sort of what we would have hoped. And they were fantastic. It was a great place for us all.
Yeah, no, so we're in the UK now. Amazon wanted to have a production hub up here and probably keep a closer eye on us. But it's also, there's something really nice for the content of the show is, Tolkien was writing about the British Isles, and, in a way we're taking the property home.
Well, so we were really big admirers of Bayona's work, and something we said about Tolkien that we love about this material is that it both has the literary value, of some of the strongest voices in the English canon, and it feels classic in that way. But it also is, it can be a movie that wins all is a blockbuster. It's like both Oscar winner and blockbuster, and so we said that we would love to have a director who had that same kind of duality, who had a lot of artistic integrity, but could also do something that would appeal to a mass audience. And as we started looking at a bunch of different directors, we were thinking about movies we really admired and respected over the last couple of years, and Bayona has such a wonderful film pedigree. I was a huge fan of The Impossible. We love A Monster Calls. But also the Jurassic Park. I mean, I'd like to say he's done sort of things in all these different camps, and also some of the horror movies like El Estrenado. He's done just such emotional, like primal, powerful storytelling, but that also has a lot of optimism and beauty to it. And so when we talked about the possibility of working with him as our director, I think we all got really excited. And then he signed on for one, and we started having this kind of collective
Yes.
creative love fest, you know, in terms of just being excited by each other's ideas. And then he's like, well, what's in 102? And he's also, he and Belen, who's his partner, who's also, you know, part of the Brain Trust, you know, we're like, oh, let's do 2 episodes. So it ended up growing organically.